We have to like get out really quick because our
You don't use your time on this.
So everyone is aware these meetings are live streamed and recorded and saved on our YouTube channel for those to watch either at the time or at a later date. Sorry, I can't write with that one. At this time, I would ask our students from Central Middle School to come to the front and do our land acknowledgement. Actually, not our land acknowledgement. I think they're gonna do their own no, not this time, okay. Not today, that's okay. I'll have you introduce yourself as well as tell us the grade that you are in, please, for, yeah, thank you.
I'm Tanika, I'm in 8th grade.
small grade.
Redder Public Schools acknowledges Treaty 6 territory to the north of the Meteor River. Treaty 6 territory is the ancestral and traditional territory of the Métis, commonly known as Cree, Dene, Niitsitapi, commonly known as Blackfoot, Saulteaux, and Totonac, as well as the Métis.
We also acknowledge the Treaty 7 territory to the south of the Meteor River. Treaty 7 territory is the ancestral and traditional territory of the Métis Black Confederacy, the Kainai, the Kainai, Siksika, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nations, the Lakota First Nation. Red Deer is also located in Region 3 of the Métis Nation of Alberta.
We acknowledge and thank the many First Nations, Métis, Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries. We are grateful for elders and traditional knowledge keepers who are still with us today and those who have gone before. Recognizing and acknowledging the traditional land is an act of reconciliation and a show of gratitude to those whose territory we reside on.
Thank you so very much for joining us and for providing us our land acknowledgement. At this time, I would ask everyone to please stand for our national anthem, O Canada. Hey guys. Thank you very much. In front of you, you'll have the public board meeting agenda, and in that agenda, you have the meeting minutes from April 29th. Are there any errors, omissions, or changes that need to be made? I would move approval. Thank you very much, Trustee Manning. All those in favor? Carried. As well, you have the minutes from the Wednesday, April 9th meeting. I would move approval. Thank you very much, Trustee Manning. All those in favor? Carried. I will be making the addition of 10.2 admin reappointments to this agenda. Are there any other additions? Changes?
I would move approval of the agenda as amended.
Thank you very much, Trustee Manning. All those in favor? Carried. We do not have any recognition in this agenda. We will move on to our governance. 10.1 enrollment summary report. Deputy Dan Lauer.
Thank you very much. April saw the end of our 3-month string of gains as we grew in Red Deer Public Schools. So you'll see we have a net 20 person decrease in Red Deer Public Schools, ending with 11,513 students. When we look at this a little closer, it's driven primarily by withdrawal of students from North Cottage School, grade 13 to 15 students. So I don't think that there's anything to be concerned about here. It's probably just more of a bookkeeping mechanism there as they take a look at students that are taking a single course in primary adult learning students. So if there's anything to be too worried about that. That's it. Report any questions?
Seeing none, we will accept that information. Thank you very much, Deputy Dan Lauer. Moving on to 10.2, admin reappointments. I will give this to Superintendent Erickson.
Sure, I'll just start off by saying we have a number of principals, vice principals, directors, and coordinators that are either finishing their first year of a fixed-term contract or finishing the third year of a 2-year fixed contract that we are recommending for reappointments as administration with Red Deer Public Schools.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Erickson. Vice Chair McCauley.
I would like to move that the board approve the recommendations from the superintendent on the contract provided.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair McCauley. All those in favor? Carried. We will move on to 10.3, Foundation for Red Deer Public Schools report from Christine Plasto. And unfortunately, Larissa is unable to be here with us today as well. Sending her regrets. Sorry, I should have said this earlier on, is Trustee Angela Summers.
Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity to provide the report from the foundation. It's my pleasure to be here as the chair of the foundation to provide the report. As many of you are aware, the purpose of the foundation is to provide life chances to students at Red Deer Public Schools through our vision and our mission, which are on that slide. Here's just some information about our board members. So you can see as far as executive goes, which is myself, Jaylene, and Jason, we are all community representatives. We also have an ATA representative through Kelly, who's one of the principals in the system, Chad as the superintendent. And then we also have Trustee Summers, who's our trustee liaison as well. So, and a classified staff representative. So that's a good representative across the district as well as across the community. So the foundation focus aligns with Red Deer Public School Division's focus on student growth and achievement, teaching and learning supports. So we align ourselves, all our programming and our initiatives align with those 3 focus areas. I'd now like to provide an update on our strategic plan. So we are now in year 2 of our plan. We came up with 3 strategic directions that the foundation needs to take in order to realize our shared vision of building capacity of individuals collectively to create a stronger, more engaged community. So on the left of the slide, what you see are strategies that indicate the major streams of action and group momentum, and then the actions all lead to what you see on the right, which is our strategic directions. Last year, we built an action plan around the middle strategic direction, which was towards effective governance. And the work that we did there was creating a recognizable brand and raising the foundation's profile. And so then this year, the strategic direction we're focusing on is towards adequate and sustainable funding. So the first one here on the left. And the particular action that we are honing in on is building a sustainable fund. So we are looking to build an endowment for the foundation. And so that leads us to information about the fundraising activities that we have planned. So this is brand new this year, golf tournament. It's going to take place on August 24th at Alberta Springs Golf Course. We're looking to get 36 teams, and it's a 9-hole Texas Scramble. There's gonna be welcome barbecue, steak dinner, we're going to do 50-50 draw, silent auction, game prizes. What we are looking to do is raise $20,000 through this particular fundraising activity. And so we're trying to generate a lot of excitement from participants and sponsors. And like I said, this particular one, this money is going to help start our investment fund or endowment. Because we want to, the rationale behind that is to help us ensure our long-term program viability for all of our programs.
Just with regards to this golf tournament, I know that it is $500 entry fee but there is a steak dinner and program. Is there an opportunity for individuals to attend for a different fee? I know several golf tournaments have that option for those that don't golf, for a different registration fee to attend the dinner.
They pay double if they don't golf.
That's not in the current plans, but we can take it back to the organizing committee for some decision on that.
Because I'm not a golfer, but I would pay a fee to go to the dinner if that was an option. Thank you.
And then just a couple of other things that we're doing fundraising wise. Another new thing is a regular season hockey pool. So this is going to start in the hockey season for next year, so fall 2025. It's going to be $10 a team entry. You can enter multiple times if you want multiple teams. We're using a tool called Office Pools, so it's all online. We have quite a lofty goal here. We want to raise $40,000 from that particular endeavor. And if this works out, we are going to consider running a playoff pool. And so we have one of our board members, Greg Tisdale, is spearheading all of this, and so has tried some of these things out. And so we're pretty excited that he's on our board, I gotta say, because he's really had some really great ideas, and he's running with it, so it's great. And then just a couple of things that we do on a regular basis, our Life Chances raffle. So we're gonna do our 5th annual coming up this September. And so it's gonna run August 25th to October 8th. And the draw date is October 9th, so right before Thanksgiving. We always our goal there is to actually raise $50,000. So the foundation gets $25,000 and the winner gets $25,000. We've not hit that target yet, but it's been an actual really good fundraiser for us. So we're still gonna try for that. And it's open to the province. So through the tool that we use there, Rafflebox, anybody across the province can actually buy tickets. So. And then the last one is our staff 50-50. So that's through our DPSD staff. And this has been running for a long time, I know. And it raises about $48,000 a year for the foundation. So we do really well with that one. So thank you, everybody, for your payroll deductions.
Very well.
And so just so you know, the average price during the school year is about $4,200, and then it's about $3,000 in the summer months. So so let's give an idea of some of the fundraising things we're doing.
Can we purchase, if we don't golf, can we purchase a 50-50 ticket?
Again, great question that we'll take back to the organizers. We don't want to step on toes.
No, but I'm saying I don't golf, but I'd love to buy a 50-50 ticket or 2, maybe 3.
Any other questions about fundraising? Okay, and then this is a cool thing that's happened with one of our projects. The Alberta Emerald Foundation is a charitable organization that celebrates and shares stories about people and organizations in Alberta for environmental excellence and leadership. And so they have an award. And so our Come Grow With Us passive solar greenhouse project, which we've worked on for the last couple of years, just been active for the last couple of years, I guess, has been nominated and shortlisted for one of their awards under the education category. And so the education category is about recognizing the educational organizations and institutions that inspire and empower learners to engage with environmental issues, cultivating environmental stewardship. So we're really pleased that our passive solar greenhouse project has been nominated for that. And then just kind of a brief reminder about what that project is about. It's giving students hands-on experience in sustainable food production, energy efficient building design, and environmental stewardship. And it's a living classroom, and it integrates STEM learning with real world skills. And it was constructed using leading-edge passive solar building technologies. And so it operates at a fraction of the energy that's used by conventional greenhouses. It uses solar geothermal systems, and it's reduced freezing hours by 95%, and then ensures optimal growing conditions year-round without fossil fuels. It also has a zero-waste irrigation system. The solar greenhouse is located in a high-needs community, and the project provides fresh produce for school food programs and local families. So it also helps combat food insecurities while promoting healthy eating habits. And the other thing that we've learned as this space has, the school has got to use the space in the community, it also serves as a mental health support area because it offers students a calming environment where nature-based learning improves well-being. So it's a really cool impact of that space as well. So award recipients receive provincial recognition, there's a trophy and a $1,500 grant. And there's an Emerald documentary series, I guess, that comes out of this, and we would also, when we win, we would be part of that as well. The award ceremony is June 5th at the Tim Center for the Arts at the University of Alberta. And so if we are awarded, Larissa is going to go, Kim Kirkwood, with a previous principal at Alberta Schools, and 2 teachers, Lindsay Henley and Kevin Ransom. So if anybody's interested in more information about the ceremony, you can just I'm just talking about some impact of some things that this year that the foundation has supported. We've supported a literacy resource called Bug Club Morphology. And so it increases student vocabulary, structure, and spelling of words, and empowers readers and writers through word structure, vocabulary, and spelling instruction. And so we were able to support this so that's a classroom resource for every student from kindergarten to grade 5. So excited about that. And then math resource, it's called Math Up, and it provides professional learning in mathematics for teachers while meeting all curriculum requirements. And there's online access, so it's an online tool actually, and it's supporting students from kindergarten to grade 6, and allowing teachers to support all of the math needs of their students. We've purchased 67 licenses, and feedback from teachers has been positive about both of those resources, and we actually had a presentation from the 2 Sherry Jansons about those 2 projects as they were both math and literacy supported. So it's great to hear about that. And then the last one we've done this year is an author visit. And so there's a grade 6 novel study for the novel called The Barren Grounds. It's a fantasy novel that aligns with Alberta's new English language arts and literature curriculum and incorporates important Indigenous content. And it's written by a Canadian Indigenous author named David A. Robertson. And so he came to Red Deer and over 2 days spoke with all grade 6 students in the division. So very fun that. Yeah. And so those are the fundraising pieces that I was speaking about help support some of that, as well as some of our other programs, which just give you an update on some of our foundational ongoing programming, like Bright Start, which is our pre-kindergarten program, and the foundation supported 8 students in that program this year. And then, of course, community college. And so this is the 14th year of the program, and you did hear this morning too at the presentation that we are introducing an additional class for English as additional language students this year, so that's very exciting. And so we will have close to 80 students attending the program this summer. And Smile Cookie Day, which is the Tim Hortons Smile Cookie campaign that we are so thankful to be a part of. There was a mom who came to the Smile Cookie fundraiser just a couple weeks ago who was in tears and said she was so honored to have her daughter selected to attend the program this summer. So, always good stories about community college. And as we know anecdotally, it has a large impact with families and with the students, but now we actually know it has statistically proven impact as well. So that's really cool. And then Finish Line. To date, over 500 students have completed high school because of our Finish Line program. And I do have a success story for this program in particular that actually is shared by a division employee who's able to take advantage of Finish Line. And she gave us permission to share her story, so I'd like to do that today. Her name is Carla. And she says that by the end of grade 12, I realized I would be receiving my diploma Although I was allowed to walk the stage and graduate in 2002 at 17, I understood that while I had completed all my classes and earned decent grades, I lacked the credits. I was unsure exactly how many credits I was short, but the weight of knowing I wouldn't complete high school weighed heavily. I felt lost, unsure of how to make up for the missing credits or what options were available to obtain my diploma. For the next 22 years, I carried the burden of feeling less than. I was ashamed to admit that I didn't have my grade 12 diploma, often resorting to dishonesty on my resumes. In an attempt to move forward, I enrolled in a college course, only to find that I didn't qualify because I still lacked my diploma. To advance in my career, I would need to take an admissions test, but when I sought guidance from a school counselor, they didn't mention any paths to obtaining my high school diploma. Then, by sheer chance, while working as a substitute and covering for the receptionist at North Cottage High School, I discovered the Finish Line program. It was a revelation. I could easily earn the one credit I needed to finally obtain my diploma. I'm grateful for this opportunity. It feels as if the heavy weight has been lifted. I can now look forward to my future with renewed hope and the confidence to pursue further education without the lingering worry of my past. So, it's a beautiful story. I really appreciate Carla giving us the permission to share that story. Just a couple of other programs, our Step Up program, which provides basic necessities for students who go without. So anything from food, clothing, medical needs, transportation. In the 23-24 school year, we reimburse schools about $11,000 for those kinds of expenses, and we're on track to pay out at least that much again this year to the schools. And we have our Music Plus program, where we help students who would not otherwise be able to participate in any kind of band program. And Come Grow With Us, which I mentioned already with the award we've been nominated for. But just something, a little extra about this project. Kevin Ramsden, one of the teachers I mentioned in my previous slide there, has really embraced this project. And for students who aren't interested in the science of growing, he's actually added woodworking to the greenhouse, and they're building things using repurposed wood. So, and then just some of our ongoing projects that the foundation supports. There's the Body Image Theater, Choir Kids, Star Run, Grow Kids, Ski Lobbit, and the Young Writers Conference as well. Just some interest in those various activities. And then I just want to highlight some of the partnerships that we've built in the foundation. So first with Western Park and the Edmonton Oilers. So there's discount tickets for families and staff through this partnership. And events like Westerner Days and Oilers games, where portions of tickets sold, money comes back to the foundation. And both parties are really happy to partner with us again next year. So there'll be discounts and support, information shared about that. And then we have Tim Hortons. So we've been working with Tim Hortons for a long time through the Small Cookie campaign, actually since 2013. So it's been several years. And initially it was helping fund our Bright Start program, but then we moved it over to Reading College. And this time, actually, what I want to talk about is a relationship that we built with a local store owner of Tim Hortons that is allowing Red Deer Public School students to go to Tim Hortons camp. So the camp is in Kananaskis, and it targets students who would not otherwise have experience or access to these types of experiences. And it's no cost to families. It's an all-inclusive experience, including transportation. There's two programs. One targets students in grades 5 to 6, and they attend the camp twice in a year. And then there's a leadership program. The students starting from grade 8, and they are invited to the camp for 10 days during the summer over 4 years. And the purpose of this program is to build leadership within the community over time. And Red Deer Public Schools is the only school division in Central Alberta who has the opportunity to give students these experiences. And this year, RDPSD is going to send the largest number of students at 122. So this is the only school division to the Tim Hortons Camp Kananaskis. So that's pretty exciting. And to date, over 450 students have been able to attend Tim Hortons camps. So it's not a great partnership with them. And then I'm just going to end my presentation with just some slides recognizing all the amazing sponsors that we have.
Awesome. Thank you so very much for your presentation. I will open up the floor to trustees at this time for any questions. Or comments? Trustee Waters?
Just want to say thank you very much for yourself as well as all the members of the foundation. All the hard work and dedication you do. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are. So thank you again.
And kudos to Larissa, she's the one
Yes.
that pulls us together.
Yeah, one of the things that I recognized as you were, during your presentation was you start with a bright start and then you go to the finish line. And then all these things that happen in between that support everything. I just think it's a really cool way of sort of organizing the foundation and what they do in our school division. So, love it, it's fantastic, and it's a pleasure to be able to support this. Thank you very much.
Trustee Peacock?
Thank you, Christine. And thanks to Larissa and the people who are on your board. You have quite a sizable board. I know some of them are sort of appointed positions, but a number of community members. It's great to see so many names up there because we know that it can be a real challenge sometimes to get board members. It's such an interesting report. There's such a broad depth of groups of students that you're helping in so many different ways. It was really interesting. I loved hearing the story about Carla because, of course, the individual stories are always the ones that leave you. And, she needed one course, and I know I used to work with people who face challenges, and so often what their needs are not that great, but they don't know how to find a solution to their issue. And it was such a good feeling to be able to say, oh, well, here, let's go here. And so, I mean, that's such a lovely story about Carla. And then even this morning with the presentation this morning, we heard some individual stories about individual students and what they said and stuff. And that was really fun and interesting to hear. We haven't talked about that, and I don't know what it'll be going out in a media release or something, will it? This morning, because that was a good news story. So will the foundation be celebrating that report or in some way, or your research project, or?
I don't know, because I was thinking about that this morning about how we should have time to speak at our next foundation meeting, actually, and that was really important to hear.
Yeah, as we were finishing, and I thought, just I wonder if we should have recorded that for your internal use, because it was really, it's such a success story of the research project that's been done. So, yeah, congratulations to everyone involved with the foundation. Thanks again, Christine.
And I just wanted to say as well, thank you so very much. Obviously, we had a research presentation this morning with regards to Reading College, and then this presentation from the foundation. It speaks to what the foundation does for Red Deer Public Schools and what it does for our community as a whole. We would not be able to do it without the community members and the time invested with regards to everything that Larissa and the board does. So thank you so very much for this presentation and for sharing Carla's story from Finish Line to go 20 plus years and have that weight on our shoulders. And it speaks to the opportunity that it gives people young and old. So thank you for sharing that. It meant a lot. So I greatly appreciate this report, and we will accept it as information. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. We will move on in our agenda to 10.4 communications report.
All right, thank you.
Of course, we've heard Larissa does send her regrets. She could be here. I'll do my best. I think I just want to start off by saying that, and I know I can speak for Larissa, we are so proud to be part of Red Deer Public Schools, and we love that we can shout it all from the rooftops. So we'll let you know how we've been doing that this year. So when I think about our department, I think we have three focus areas: awareness and engagement, support and connection, and trust and transparency. So our first focus area is to build awareness of programs, services, and successes across the division while engaging students, families, staff, and the broader community through timely, clear, and consistent messaging. Our second focus area is to provide tools and guidance that support school administration and staff and strengthen relationships with families and community stakeholders. And then, of course, our third area is to promote trust in the division by communicating openly and timely and clearly about our decisions that the board makes, our admin makes, initiatives and achievements, and aligning those with our division priorities and values. New this year, I'll just highlight a couple of new projects that we worked on. A big one was our website. So at the beginning of 2025, the contract for the division website was up for renewal. So based on some feedback from schools, we explored options that would be a more user-friendly interface for our staff that are using the website. And of course, something that would be wonderful for our families, students, and staff on the front end to use. So through our research, Rally, our new web provider, really rose to the top and met all the expectations. So in the fall of 2024, we began working with Rally on a design that was modern and focused on families and staff being able to access the information that they needed. We also created a small committee of staff members who worked in the website interface with us, kind of our super users at the schools that we call them, to really ensure that we met and hit all of these needs. So in December 2024, we welcomed about 30 people from all of our schools. Every school was represented, which was amazing, to Lindsay Thurber, where we held a full day training that was put on and led by Rally. So they came down and did a full day training with us. Feedback on the training was super positive, and Larissa and I loved that throughout the whole day we were hearing, this is so easy to use and we love it, and it's so easy to upload content and to move things. So if it's easy for people, they're going to use it, and we love to hear that. And then partnering with our technology and information services, the division website went live right before Christmas, and the transition was virtually seamless, which was awesome. And then we reached back out to our users at the schools in March just to get their feedback, what they thought of the training, how they thought about how the website was going, and very, very positive, as well as our families were really positive. So you'll see on there just the analytics since launching the division site. This is the division only, so it's a very heavily used website. We've had 118,000 sessions. Total page views are 209,000, and we've had almost 100,000 users. So we want to make sure our content is up to digital times. Another fun project that we had the pleasure of being part of was the rebrand of our pre-kindergarten program. They were really, for a number of years, wanting to increase enrollment in that program. So we tried a number of different strategies, and they weren't working exactly how we wanted them to. So after some research, we felt that a rebrand for the program was needed. So working with Kim Kirkwood, who's our Certified Director of Early Learning, and with some really fun brainstorming sessions, the Little Learners Pre-Kindergarten program was born. So we had some really fun ideas on what the brand could look like, but we worked with our graphic designer to kind of make our vision come to life, and I think he did a really great job. So after the logo and brand was finalized, we worked on a marketing plan to really target the families who would benefit from this program. And so this included materials such as brochures and postcards, banners, web content, social media posts, all the things. And then Kim began reaching out to organizations that provide some of those support services to help raise awareness and profile the program as well. We used School Messenger to share the messaging to families in elementary schools. We created radio ads for Big 105 and Real Country, and use those on our on-hold school systems as well. We did online ads with Red Deer News Now, bus advertising, banners, posters in the community centers, and then of course some paid advertising with social media, and increase the profile at the open houses at school. So as a result of this effort, and Kim's effort as well, big kudos to her, registration has seen an increase of 60 applications this year. And if things continue, we're told that there's a good chance they may need to add another classroom this fall. So I think that's a good little success story. This was a really fun one to be a part of. So communications played a role in launching and promoting the Fire Academy. Working in collaboration with our graphic designer, again, a logo and brand was created, helping to establish a really strong visual identity that reflects the professionalism and purpose of the program. So marketing and communication materials were developed, including all the usual things, the brochures, postcards, website, social media, to help raise that awareness and drive interest from students and families. And to generate public interest further, media releases were developed and interviews coordinated with the Fire Academy staff. So these efforts help secure media attention provincially and position the Academy as a leading edge initiative. We also supported the coordination of the Fire Academy Open House, which was very successful. So we worked closely with the high schools, the City of Red Deer Emergency Services, and other community partners that were on hand to ensure that the event was well promoted and well attended. So we had about 200 people at that event, which was wonderful. And then, of course, ongoing communication supports continues as the program gets ready to launch, ensuring that consistent messaging and social media promotion. And we've got some fun ideas in the works for next year once the program starts going. We'd love to have like a media and donor day where they can be on site at the Ed Howell Training Center and see, especially the donors, what their dollars are going towards. And then we might see if some of the students can do some demonstrations for us at our Smell Cookie Day in conjunction with our EMS that are on hand. Another initiative that we assisted in was targeted promotions of our second language program. So over the last several months, we've worked to help promote the division's second language programs with a focus on early and late French immersion and as well as Spanish bilingual. So we increased targeted marketing efforts to raise awareness and drive those registrations. Strategies included social media, radio ads, print materials, and tailored messaging that spoke directly to families considering these programs. And then to support our overall strategy, we developed a clear and concise FAQ document for both French immersion and Spanish bilingual. And these resources helped address some common questions and reduce barriers to entry. And we also assisted with the coordination of 2 open houses in January, specifically targeting our new French immersion families. We were also involved in developing a couple of promotional videos for our early and late French immersion and Spanish bilingual programs as well. So these videos captured student teacher voices as well, and really impact the learning of a second language. So those can be seen on our YouTube site, the division's YouTube site, and they are continually cycled through our social media. And then our last community engagement, we actually targeted our elementary families about what they knew about our French programming, whether they had children in the program or not. And we got just over 100 respondents of that. And this data will directly inform how we refine our messaging and tailor our marketing strategies for better reach information and how to resonate with families. One of the things that came out from that was there was many comments of, we don't speak French at home, so that's the barrier for us. We don't know how to help our child. So for me, that is something that we need to work on for our messaging and get that out, that you do not have to be a French speaking home. So it's really helpful for us to learn these things that our families are thinking. You're all familiar with this. So since the fall, the board has been actively contributing to our division's social media accounts, with each trustee submitting a weekly post on a rotating basis. The posts are shared primarily on Facebook and Instagram, and they've helped elevate the role of trustees, making your work more visible and accessible to the community. Posts have highlighted everything from school visits and special events to reflections on student learning and public education as well. So you can see the engagement there. The trustee posts have performed well. This is a collective effort. So 552 likes, 29 shares, and 32 comments on Facebook collectively. There's been 18 posts total. And then again, 514 likes and 3 comments on Instagram. So the initiative has strengthened connections between the board and the public and our community, and we'll continue to support the trustees in sharing their voice on our social media platforms. In June last year, and again this year, Larissa and I take a whole afternoon and we really talk about our marketing plan, and we lay out as much as we can for the upcoming school year of what we're going to do with the information that we know, and that the campaigns that we know will be running. So Of course, we continue to advertise with Red Deer News Now and have radio campaigns with Big 105 Rewind. And this year we added Real Country into our regular programming. Last year we used them a little bit for a couple of sporadic campaigns, but this year they're a regular place that we advertise. So as you can see on the slide, listeners hear us a lot within a month, and thousands see us on RD News Now as well with those ads. That's a sample of an ad right there. So these ads are showcase our division, our priorities, discover the possibilities, wraparound services, pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, French emergent, like you name it, we're trying to promote it. And then the radio scripts are written by us in our department, but they are professionally voiced by the radio. And then we work with RD News Now for some of our design. Our external communications are focused on building public awareness and strengthening community trust and promoting, of course, the great things that happen in all of our schools. So this past year, we've had 233 media mentions, up 3 today, so 236, with 98% of the stories and media releases developed in-house, which I think that's something that really speaks volumes, that we can get our own message out there in the way that we want it, and the media picks it up the way that they do. So I'm really proud of that. This ensures, though, that we maintain clear, consistent messaging and highlight stories that reflect our values, our priorities, and our student success. Media coverage has included local, regional, and national outlets, such as the Red Deer Advocate, RD News Now, Todayville, Central Alberta Online, Education News Canada, CTV Edmonton, CBC, and most recently, Rogers TV. They just opened a bureau here. Our internal audience is just as important to us as our external audience, and we repurpose these stories to our monthly internal newsletter, the Communication Connections, which is delivered directly to every staff member's inbox. This ensures alignment between internal and external messaging and helps staff stay informed and connected. And then we also look for creative, high visibility opportunities and fun opportunities to engage with our community. So for the 3rd consecutive year, we were proud to be the Red Deer Rebels game night host sponsor in February. And I think you guys were all there, so you know exactly what that entails. But it's a really great opportunity for us just to be in the community. And I love that, you know, students get to see their teachers and their principals at an event outside of their school. I think that's really special. So our radio ads are another example of extending our reach. We repurpose these professionally recorded spots as on-hold messaging at all of our schools. So families hear that consistent campaign-aligned messaging every time they call their child's school. So it's really nice that we can get them professionally done, and then we can repurpose them to use on our on-hold. And then finally, for a 2nd year in a row, we're leveraging our membership with the Red Deer Chamber to extend our reach even further. So we've collaborated with the Chamber to send out 3 targeted email blasts to their membership featuring our open house series, Smile Cookie Week, and Smile Cookie Day. And I will just say, Larissa and I were volunteering to decorate Smile Cookies the one day, and two ladies came in, and we didn't know them, and that doesn't matter, but we introduced ourselves. And they were from the Build community, and they saw the sign up from the Red Deer Chamber of Commerce email and signed up to decorate Smile Cookies. So it is having a little bit of an impact, which is really awesome. So this year we continue to utilize advertising on our city transit buses. We love these because it's like a moving billboard. Sorry, I'm seeing my slides didn't format great, so I apologize. We also continue to advertise on the doors of the Collicutt Center, the ring boards and the GH and then the bulletin boards on the YMCA as well, really targeting where those families are. And these campaigns have highlighted division initiatives like our Back to School, our language programs, open house series, and many, many more. And then we recognize that strong school divisions are built through partnerships in our community, and that's why we've prioritized meaningful engagement for our stakeholders to help inform decisions, identify gaps, and shape the direction of our community as well. So our engagement strategy is really built on the belief that students, family, and staff, and the broader community all bring valuable insights to the table. And gathering this feedback helps make us better, and you know, whether it's about communications, like I talked about, our programming, future planning, can be anything. So To help us effectively and strategically engage with our stakeholders, we use Social Pinpoint. So this is the second year in a row we've used them. What I really love about this platform is that you can build a really nice looking web page that it can include a variety of information, whether it's like timelines, background information for more context, and it really allows us to choose the variety of tools that we want to use for this specific engagement. And then it allows for really great comprehensive reporting and reports that stay on with the engagement. So if you want to go back and look at what we did in the fall, the report is right there. It's really nice for to be responsive and report back to our community that way. So 2 recent engagements this year have included the 2024 school startup. So we launched that in September and ran that for 1 week. And we focused on improving the back to school experience. So we had almost 900 contributions. And the answers really gave us a clear picture of preferences and kind of some pain points, I would say, helping schools prepare more effectively for the upcoming school year and how we can help support our schools in doing that. The second engagement I spoke about was our French immersion programming. We launched that in April and it ran for 4 weeks. So we had about 104 responses. Social Pinpoint actually reached out to me because our engagement rate for this survey was 65.12%. And they said the industry standard is between 2 and 12%. So I think that speaks, our community is very engaged and they want us to hear from them. So I'm really happy with when we do put a survey out there, it's people want to give us some feedback, which I think is great. And again, I talked a little bit about some of the things that I took away as for communications that I learned from the French Immersion survey, but I also think a win on this engagement was over 20 families asked to be directly contacted about French Immersion. They wanted to learn more about the program, so they left us their contact information. And we are just wrapping up a really successful second year of our open house series. So we proposed an open house series in 2023 to enhance what schools were already doing and to better engage with our families, especially after COVID. We felt that there was that gap there. So this year we had 21 open houses take place between March and May. And we saw over 3,500 people attend them all. So last year, just for context, we had 14 schools. So you can see that was really, really awesome. You guys were all there. Schools did so many different things that were amazing. And I love that, they kind of all followed a template in some way, but then really showcased their school culture and spirit. And I think that's what made them all very special. So some of the wins that we saw were, of course, the use of scavenger hunts or passports, student-led tours and activities, curriculum-driven projects, school council representatives, food trucks, and then we had a few community partners at some of them, so AHS and Richard Childcare was there as well. I think one little story was one principal at one of the schools, saw a student there with their family and they had been having some attendance issues. So the fact that the family and the student came and was able to connect with that principal was really amazing, and that principal just loved on them and just took them in, and I think that was a really nice moment. So we feel that this is something of value for our community, and we hope to continue working with and supporting schools next year. Our next community engagement is going to be on our open house series, how families are feeling that, do they like them? How can we improve? We're always trying to improve. And then just really quickly, these are other ways we support the division. So event planning, we're planning a Hunting Hills Grand reopening, West Park Elementary ribbon cutting right now, video, graphic design, special projects as needed, board supports, of course, as needed, professional development, social media and website. We are also the communications team for Hour Zero, and then community partnerships. This is something that we've kind of really started working on the second half of the school year, is those community partnerships with the Westerner. We've been in touch with Hope Mission, so really looking to build those partnerships. So overall, I would say our work is very diverse and dynamic, but we love it that way. And we're always focused on supporting our school students and families as well. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, I feel like this is way longer than I thought it was going to be. Sorry. This takes up a little bit of my time in my work, and I just wanted to touch base on it. So I do some work for my professional organization, the Canadian Association of Communicators in Education. And last fall, I was elected to the national board as a director at large. So this follows 5 years where I was a regional liaison, just supporting our local Alberta members and planning 4 conferences for our local members, providing professional development and networking opportunities closer to home. So now, as part of my new role on the board, I'm planning the national conference, which will bring together more than 200 education communicators from across the country to share best practices, tools, and insights. But why I feel that this is important, and I wanted to bring it up, was there's just a lot of benefits to Red Deer Public, including access to best practices and national trends in education, communications across the country. I have the opportunity to connect with my colleagues across the country, bringing new ideas, new strategies, and inspiration back to Red Deer Public, and it enhances our visibility and credibility for our division on the national stage. And then it's an opportunity to showcase Red Deer Public's work in communications as well. And then last one, looking ahead, our team will continue to find meaningful and strategic ways to share the story of Red Deer Public Schools, highlighting the achievements of our students, staff, and schools, and reinforcing the value of public education in our community. We believe in the power of collaboration, so we'll continue to actively seek our new community partners and opportunities that align with our values and help amplify our messages. And then lastly, we're always learning. Larissa and I are always learning, so we will continue to strengthen our skills and stay on top of trends and best practices and evolve to meet the changing needs of our division. And then very lastly, I know I've said that 3 times, but I just put a package together because I think sometimes we say we've done this and this and this, and maybe you guys haven't seen some of the work we've done. So I just put together a few of the brochures and information that we've done.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you so very much, Superintendent Erickson. Would like to go first?
Yeah, so it's unfortunate that Larissa couldn't join us today because you are a fantastic duo. And just for the Board of Trustees, I have the great fortune of getting to sit down every Monday with Larissa and Aaron as they bombard me with all of their new, fresh ideas in each of their different workspaces that they're looking forward to. And I can't say enough about the passion that each one of them brings to their jobs each and every day. And it's all in the name of supporting our students and staff throughout our division. I think you see a true love of Red Deer Public Schools whenever you get to sit down with Aaron and Larissa and hear about all the great things that they do. So a big thank you from me to you and to Larissa if she's watching online.
Yeah, should I be?
I'm sure she is.
Yeah, she better.
Obviously. Vice Chair McCauley.
Thank you for loving your job.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's a job when you love it. You and Larissa, as Superintendent Erickson said, you just pour out your love and respect for Red Deer Public Schools and the community. You guys are my go-to whenever I'm having a bit of I'm here for this. And you guys give me joy, you give me inspiration, you pump me up, and I hope you guys are finding support for what you're doing because gosh darn, we certainly couldn't do it without you. So kudos, thank you, big hugs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mann.
Thanks. I have a few comments, and of course, I want to thank you for all of the hard work that you put in. I also want to thank you for your work with your professional organization. All of what you said is absolutely right on. What is good for you is good for Red Deer Public, and Red Deer Public is good for your national organization as well. So
Yes.
I appreciate that work. I know it's extra for you, so I thank you for that. I come from the day when we would do town halls. Mr. Eberts remembers town halls. And I kind of go back to that, and I think about how valuable I found those face-to-face conversations, and I'm getting them now in the open houses.
Good.
And so I found that was a very good transition. But I also really appreciate the website and how it has managed to incorporate the feedback. My job as a trustee is to represent our community in what they feel is important. And if I don't know what they feel is important, then I cannot do my job. And so I really appreciate and value that feedback that you're getting. And I'm glad to see that it's getting used. And I hope that it will increase as people, realize that it's out there. And I think it's important what kind of questions you ask too, right? That we get the right questions out there so that we can get the right feedback that feeds into our education plan and the board's planning and how we represent our community, because that is what we're supposed to do. So I just want to say as well, echo the thank yous, and please pass them on to Larissa. You guys are an amazing team, and I know the superintendent appreciates you, and I appreciate you as well.
Thank you, Trustee Gould.
Yeah, echoing some of Trustee Manning's sentiments, I'm loving the national profile, and that you're able to raise the profile of Red Deer nationally, because of course when you're on the committee and you're working, that brings it up. But I also think that's one of the great things about our division is that it's small enough. The team is small enough so you can be quick, you can pivot, you're looking at trends, you're looking at new things to go. You don't have a long kind of bureaucracy or a lot of hassle to be able to move, so you can say, I'm hoping you feel supported, because you can say, look, let's try this. And then the admin team says, yeah, this really makes sense. And I'm really glad that we engaged this year's trustees with our posts. Because, it's a little tiny step forward for us to sort of move into that digital world and in that digital way. So, yeah, really fantastic. And I love the fact that this is an educational institution and you talk about learning and continuing to learn, right? So that whole theme just resonates through everything that you do. So thanks to both of you.
And I will conclude. I have said this numerous times throughout the year. I do not need a communications report to recognize how valuable you and Larissa are for our school division. And me independently, I would not be able to fulfill this role without the support of both of you and everything that you do for me. So thank you very, very, very much. I'm supporting the board with our social media posts, and I don't know how two women can accomplish as much as you guys do. Your productivity is absolutely incredible, and the things that you are recognized provincially, nationally, you guys are award winners. We are so fortunate and lucky to have you as part of our Red Deer Public family. So thank you so, so very much for everything that the both of you do.
You're welcome. Happy to do it. Thank you.
Oh, and you also take notes. All right, we will move on. 10.5, Education Plan Quarterly Update, Superintendent Erickson.
Yeah, to bring the meeting down a notch after hearing from our communications team. Just our regular quarterly report, much of it is anecdotally stated there, but I do like to highlight at least one thing each time that I bring this forward to you. And this month, I'd like to highlight under the governance area, the fact that we established a committee this year to develop and implement a comprehensive set of local performance measures. So many of these are used to complement the Alberta Education Assurance measures. And we had the same number of local measures for a number of years, Ron, 12 years probably. And they weren't really capturing the essence of our work in Red Deer Public any longer. So thanks to Ron and his team and our administrators, we were able to build a new set of questions. So we have 12 questions that are more directly linked to our current assurance framework and assurance domains with Red Deer Public. So hitting those areas of student growth and achievement, teaching and leading, governance, and learning supports. You can see the 12 questions in your agenda. We introduced this in March, and rather than have that 2-week period of time that we would typically run, or a little bit longer for getting surveys back, this year we decided to make this just an ongoing feedback loop to our schools. And currently we've had 816 parent surveys returned, 546 staff surveys, and 3,549 student surveys to date. So and those are broken across all of our schools. But it's just really something our staff and our administration can go directly onto their site at their school and see the surveys that are being completed in real time. Look at the response that parents and students and staff are giving and help inform future practice in those buildings. So I think it's a real positive. I really like the fact that they're more directly linked to our current education plan and domains. So I think that's positive.
Thank you so very much, Trustee Gould.
Yeah, I've heard a number of these things because we've gone to different meetings and stuff in here, but I'm loving the long arc of this, and that there are only tweaks and small initiatives. And last night at the citywide, you were talking about where we've emphasized, where we're heading next year. And I like the fact that it feels like it's small and it's enough to chew on and not overwhelm anybody, but there's still movement and there's consolidation. I also really love this open survey process, because I don't think I remember that, or whatever, with the 12 questions, that they rotate and they can stay open. So you're getting bigger feedback and more feedback, because every time we go to school council meetings and I say, by the way, we spend millions of dollars based on 5 people sending in a survey result, because that's the reality. We're only going based on the information that we get from the community. So I love that this is increasing that scope, and then the uptake is getting better. Therefore, the decisions we make become much more data informed in a real sense. Yeah.
Thank you very much. One of the things that I really appreciate is this comprehensive overview of the education plan quarterly report. I think one of the things that was happening is we would do our education plan and then we would look at it again until the next year. So one of the things I really appreciate is receiving this report specifically. And one of the things that I know that I have spoken with individuals about is one of the things that we as trustees do is our community engagement. We heard from our students with regards to bullying, and our superintendent and administration have implemented WIC program, and that's one of the things that's pointed out in this quarterly report. So I appreciate the reminders in this comprehensive overview, so thank you. And we will receive this report for information. 10.6, facility bookings, corporate secretary, treasurer. Yeah. Hi, it's been a long day already.
And so it has been 3 years now since the facility booking rental fee rates have been reviewed. So I had Becky Hutchison, who oversees the facility bookings, kind of do some work on this, and she reached out to multiple school divisions, municipalities, and a few others, kind of look at some comparison rates and kind of what they charged and what their overall structure was. Believe it or not, it's really hard to compare. Everybody does everything a little bit different or whatever, but more or less you get a good sense of what is being charged out there and what isn't. And so we looked at everything that we charged and kind of came up with a few recommendations. So there's other areas within the facility rentals that are not being recommended because they would be considered to be reasonable or comparable to what others are charging. So the areas that are recommended would be the multi-use rate adjustments. So that's for groups that you could be renting our facilities numerous times throughout the year. We had quite a reduced rate for them, and when we compared it to others, we were really low. So I would say that this rate recommendation kind of brings us up to what's others. It's comparable, but still I would say it's still fairly low to others. Increased daily rental rate, so that was still a fairly significant rate in comparison. So this is just bringing it up to just make it reasonable for our schools and for them to be opening up their doors to having users in their buildings for the entire day. And then there's the host and caretaker fees. So we all know over 3 years there have been pay adjustments. And so this is really just to catch us up to what we're actually paying people to host and clean the facilities during and while the users are using the facilities. And then this is actually a new one, and reduction. So we have a few schools which are listed there, like Aspen Heights and Addiel Gates. They're smaller gyms. and they aren't being utilized because they're smaller and groups really aren't wanting to use them. So we thought we would actually offer a reduced rate to get people into those buildings that have inquired about renting our facilities when they see the rates for whatever that is that they're using it for, say like a birthday party or something, or they're kind of deterred because of the rates. So we're hoping that this gets them in the buildings and makes use of those facilities that are being underutilized. And then finally is a policy for cancellations, right? Because we do, the majority of our people that are groups that are booking are not canceling, but they're when there is cancellations, there can be a lot of administrative time or rentals that are lost because of multiple bookings, because there's really not an incentive to not cancel. So I think these are reasonable. I'd say like obviously the highest one would be if you're renting a high school for the entire weekend, there would be a $500 deposit, but that's the entire facility. So I think that's reasonable, and that's compared to other school divisions or municipalities that they're charging as well. So this would be approved, it would be effective September 1st, 2025, and everything would be updated and we would communicate it up to our users.
Thank you. First I saw trustee Manning, trustee Gould, trustee Waters, trustee Heathrow.
To initiate the conversation, I would like to make the motion, Chair Buchanan, that the Board of Trustees approve the facility rental rate changes effective September 1, 2025. And I have a couple of questions. When was the last time this came to us? I remember it coming to us once before, but I don't remember when.
I believe it was around February 2022.
22?
Yes.
So there has been no change since then. Thank you. So some of these are rather large increases, 30 to 35%. Understandably, costs have gone way up since then, so I understand that. And I also appreciate that you will grandfather those bookings that have occurred before this rate change comes into effect, so that those rates would stay the same for those who've already booked. Is there currently a non-refundable deposit fee? No, none whatsoever? Okay. So that would be a new one. And do we overall make a profit?
Yes. So with the profit, it's obviously there's the rental revenues coming in, and we have all the expenses. And I think last year it was around $75,000. And 50% goes to our facility services department, which turns around and the bulk of that goes to the redoing the flooring in the gyms. The other 50% gets divided out to the schools based on the usage of the schools. So that's why for the smaller use ones, say like Annual Gates may only receive a couple $100 because they didn't have the use. So we're hoping that we can attract more people to the school, and they'll actually receive the funds, so then they can use them to buy new gym equipment.
So I appreciate that, and I appreciate those numbers, that they're not like over the top. We're not getting rich on this, absolutely. But I also believe that our facilities are bought and paid for by the tax dollar, and that they belong to the community. And I appreciate that we open them up and make them available for use by the community. So I'll support this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, trustee Gould.
Just a quick thing about these hosts. Are those folks sitting at the door when you walk in and there's an activity at the school in the evening?
Yes. Yeah, they're mostly manning the doors to make sure that only the people that are supposed to be in the building, and also just kind of keeping an eye on what the groups are, or helping them if they're running into issues with, say, turning the lights on or setting up any of the equipment that they're going to be using.
And they're community members, are they?
No, well, they're actually employees. Like
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, good, thanks.
Trustee Waters.
I know it's been a while, you said it would be 3 years since we looked at this, and there are some heavy increases, no doubt about it. But, and I know $8 is not very much, but somehow I'd like to see it maybe staged, $4 now, $4 later, to maybe ease it a little bit. Because in some of the other ones where we look at current caretaking pay rate and also like between the current and the recommended, for a rate of $22 an hour going up to 26 is $4, which is reasonable for some people, right? But if you were to say you're gonna go up 8 or 10, it could hurt a little bit of people. It could hurt a few people to do it. So, I mean, I'll support it, but I'd just like to see if we can, the big ones, if we could just look at some way up a 2-stage. And then at least they're prepared for next time rather than wait 3 years and hit them hard.
Thank you very much, Trustee Vico.
Thank you. Going back to the hosts, are the hosts often people who work within the school district offered the opportunity to work as a host?
Yeah, I would say half of the people. It just depends on what position they have.
Okay,
I'd say like if you're a teacher, you can, so anybody can apply. We can hire them. Teacher is fine because there's no overtime considerations. If it's an EA, we have to consider overtime.
Oh, really?
It's the same kind of category
I
of what
see.
the position is. So we had a couple of teachers, we've had a couple of EAs, and then we had a couple of people that weren't currently employed with us.
Now this caretaker rate, so there's caretaking at the end of events sometimes, but this is one that they'd be there hourly. So what is, I mean, if there's a group using the gym for basketball for a couple of hours, are we expecting the caretakers to be there for the 3 hours as well? For the,
No, and it gets a little bit tricky with this, but if you're, say, using a gym at the school from, say, 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock on a Thursday night, there is no caretaking because we have our current caretakers working at that time. So these rates are outside of when our caretakers are in the building.
So like a Saturday?
That's right, mostly on the weekends, or if they're there till after hours or whatever, right, they need to clean up after the group. So if the group is there till 9 o'clock, then we need someone there to clean in the evenings, but it's not always, so it's just a case by case, right? But mostly on the weekends, it's usually when the caretaking is on it.
Okay, so on a Saturday, groups rented it for 3 hours, and we know that that's the minimum wage is 3 hours worth at minimum wage. So you might have a host there for 3 hours, as well as a caretaker who's there for 3 hours, even if your role only involves cleaning the gym at the end of the basketball game or something.
Sometimes, yes, there's always a ton of different scenarios because we actually have 2 people that work for us as their permanent staff. And so if there's, they are cleaning, so if there's multiple, say 5 or 6, events going on in different schools, they actually do all of the cleaning. So the groups are only charged based on what they are using it for. So it's,
Okay, and final question, is it possible to, have you ever considered the hosting positions being offered, so to staff in the district, but also to our students? To sort of, give them an additional, to say, hey, this is a role for grade 12 or grade 11 students, and just giving a little employment to our students?
yeah, it could be considered. I guess we'd have to look at who it is and see what their references and stuff.
Just thought it might be an opportunity. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair McCauley?
A lot of questions around host. And I'm gonna add to that, if you don't mind. I'm actually surprised by the definition of host. I thought it would have been more security. So when I hear that, it might be a possible student or something there, I would be very nervous about having that in there. Has there ever been a time in the past where somebody asked for security or felt that there needed to be security? No, they're there by themselves, there with a group that they really don't know, and they're allowing people in.
Right.
That seems like to me that there should be naturally there should be some kind of security there to protect them. Has that ever come up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. So all of our hosts are obviously trained. So when you're hired on, you're not just told to go to the school and learn as you go. So they're actually trained on what they need to know, and they're given a kind of a binder that gives them all the information. One of the pages in the binder is a safety option. So obviously to dial 911 if you're in in a situation. However, we also have our security contractor who's available, and they have cars all over the city, so if someone's in a situation where they don't feel safe even parking to their car at the end, they can call them and they'll actually help them walk from the building to their car, and that does happen every once in a while, so, or if there's something happening outside of the building and they don't feel safe, they can phone.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they're definitely provided with that information, so.
Oh, thank you, that puts my mind at ease. I was wondering if this is something that the communications department would ever investigate, advertising that we do have space and this is who they contact. I don't know if that is part of your realm, but we did talk about how much things are getting utilized and it does belong to the community. So did you know that you could go to Anniel Gates and, practice your volleyball there?
Yeah, how do we advertise this? Like,
Yeah,
how
or-
do people know? Do they just know?
They do just, as you were saying that, I was just thinking, because I know the information is there, but our buildings are utilized a lot, like every night of the week. There is, they say definitely our high schools, every 7 days a week, both Hunting Hills and Lindsay Thurber have groups in it. The middle schools, Westport Middle, Central Middle.
I would guess so that
Eastview, not as much.
staff is telling organizations that they belong to.
Or that their children belong to. Some of
Yeah.
our gyms aren't usable for some of the sporting activities, so ceiling's too low for volleyball or some of those things, so they get less utilized because of that, but
And I think it's a good thing when you talk about security. Sometimes, if we weren't operating this, our buildings could sit empty for many hours, especially on the weekends and the evenings, and now they're being utilized in the evenings and weekends. So it kind of just helps with this security sense too, right? That there's people still in the building on the evenings and weekends, keeping it safe. So.
Thank you.
It is on our website too, the fees and the structure section, I think under trustees information, how you can rent our facilities.
All facilities are just sort of,
All the ones that are available.
yeah, but even the smaller ones, we don't know, then maybe somebody could find use for it, right? I don't know.
we can reach out.
Yep, they can reach out to us.
Couple questions. This falls under admin procedure 550. Does the rental rates also fall under the admin procedure?
They could, but we have always traditionally brought it to the board for approval, since it's fee-based.
What triggered the rates to be reviewed, and should there be something maybe implemented so this is something that is reviewed on a regular basis? If this is not we didn't touch on this since 2022.
Yeah, I was thinking that it probably should be something that maybe even could be combined in this in May meeting, because there's the school fees and we're looking at budgets and that kind of thing. So probably I would say would be a great idea to have it yearly. What triggered it was that I've had facility bookings under me for the last 3 years, so it was more of just an understanding and at the same time, Becky came on at that time, right? So she needs to understand exactly what we were doing and how the structure was, right? So it was just now that we both have 3 years of, how it works and where there were shortfalls and stuff, that's why we're bringing it. But now that we have that full understanding, definitely a year would be a better idea.
Thank you very much for that. Trustee Manning, would you accept a friendly amendment to your motion to add a annual review of these rates? Or do you want me to make a separate motion?
I think it should be a separate motion. I'm not, I just think this one deals with the rate increase at this point. It doesn't matter either way, I suppose, but just for the record, it might be good to have a separate motion.
Okay, I will make a second motion, put two motions on the floor. I move that the Board of Trustees review the facility rental rate annually. When did you say we should do it?
In May.
In May.
At the day.
In the May board meeting. Yes, absolutely you can. Yes, you can. Go.
Just a question, what are the pros and cons, because you mentioned this, is this in an administrative procedure versus the board, or did you mention it? Yeah, sorry. So the pros and cons and why it might come here as opposed to why it might not go to an AP or be fully handled in an AP.
Superintendent Erickson mentioned that because it ultimately has a dollar cost fee schedule to it, and it's being changed, and it is listed on the website. And Deputy Lauer mentioned that under the board for facility bookings, the fee rate is not listed in the admin procedure, only the actual procedure is listed in the admin procedure, therefore we are still approving
Okay.
or not the
Right, thank you.
facility rental rates. We currently have two motions on the floor. First one is from trustee Manning. Does that, oh, sorry.
And I think actually it was Associate Superintendent Karen, I don't know your last name. Colin who brought
It's
this
the
up.
opposite of the Prime Minister.
Oh, I see.
Kearney.
The, reviewing the fees once a year, is that not perhaps like more than we need to? Could it be reviewing the year, the fees as needed, or at the maximum every 3 years? I mean, is every year
We
effective
do
use?
get the other fees every year.
We don't get like
With the budget.
for, abroad students,
It was Colin that suggested.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I would say even if we do a review and there's no changes, then I can bring it to you and say, we've done a review and there's no recommended changes.
And as a foreshadowing, you will get one from the international students this year as
International,
well.
thank you, abroad students, how could I get, I'm not good with words.
Trustee Waters.
No, it's fine. Thanks.
Thank you very much. With regards to the motion on the floor from trustee Manning, does anyone require the wording again? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. With regards to the motion that I put on the floor, does anyone need the wording? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried.
I don't know if it needs to be
We'll
done.
move,
So did you vote
I
against?
voted against, I don't think it needs to be done every year.
Okay.
But it's only, you
Sorry.
win again.
I just wasn't sure if you were.
Yeah, no, I was going, no.
okay, so sorry, you're opposed?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so can you please have the minutes show?
just to keep it consistent. Moving on.
We move on in our agenda to 10.7, 2025-26 spring budget. Still with you.
Yes. So I've attached the spring budget for the 25-26, which the government calls budget 2025. There's some notes that I provided with some details on how we came up with the budget for your understanding. There's also the fee schedule that the schools worked on and provided us with a lengthy list of their fees and any changes that they felt they needed to make those adjustments. I met with the audit committee last night and reviewed the budget in detail, so I guess pass it on to the chair of the audit committee, Trustee Waters.
I have two motions to bring forth. The first one is that the audit committee recommend that the board of trustees approve 2025, 2026 spring budget report with revenues of $139,159,549. Boy, that sounds good to say that. And expenses of $139,859,549, resulting in a $700,000 deficit budget.
Just speak up.
Just to note that for anyone who may have looked at the this package when it originally came out, it contained the budget documents for the current school year. It has since been updated, and what we have as an extra copy in front of us is the 2025-2026 year. And so within that motion, we are actually, just to know, we are voting on the 2025-2026 budget.
I hope I said that.
You did, but originally our package didn't have that.
Thank you very much. Last year, we put out a communication with regards to the deficit. Are we wanting as a board to put out a communication with this budget and the deficit? Erin's going like.
In progress,
Sure.
if you choose.
I'm seeing head nods. Yes, no opposition to putting out a communication. Perfect. With regards to the first motion on the floor from trustee Waters, all those in favor?
Yes.
Thanks.
And the second motion The superintendent of schools recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the 2025-2026 school and transportation fees.
So the board approves.
Or the board approves, right? The board recommends, the Board of Trustees approve.
Sorry, the board approved.
The board approves
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
that the Board of Trustees approve the 2025-2026 school and transportation fees.
May I read?
Yes, yeah, please.
That the Board of Trustees approve the 2025-2026 school and transportation fees as attached in the agenda.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Can I have a question?
Yeah, sorry.
Just a quick question. Well, it's sort of a question and a comment. I kind of like seeing these pages after pages of the fees laid out because it helps me realize when we're sitting around talking the budget and we'll say, oh yeah, let's throw $150 fee on the students at the schools. It's like when we're having that discussion, that not everybody, of course, pays all these fees because they're not doing basketball and all the trips and all that kind of stuff, but it helps me just sort of see that context. It doesn't mean going forward, the board can't add fees because they need to balance budget and all that kind of stuff. I really appreciate the information.
Thank you very much. I know that it is public because we are in a public meeting right now, and this gets attached and posted on the website. But I think that this would be really beneficial information to our community, and information that people don't know. Because as Trustee Gould kind of pointed out, it's very informative and detailed with regards to what everything is, and it's $50 here, $30 here, $80 there, adds up really, really quickly, and this would be,
A lot of the extracurricular for sure.
Yeah, and yeah, so if you stop to think about it, right, so you have two kids in high school, both of them playing basketball. Both of them with $150 regular fee that we charge, right? And then on top of that, each of them has the basketball fee and then all the other fees. It does add up for parents. And I've always tried to support lowering and even eliminating fees wherever possible. But as the economy provides a stranglehold for us, I think it is good information for parents to have this and for our community to know the actual cost of what we're providing.
for a lot of our sports athletic teams, like I'm just looking
At the high
at,
school?
yeah, so $750 for basketball, grade, or senior boys and girls. Is that to the students and family?
For travel, tournaments, hotels.
Well, they get lots out of it.
I'm not, but it's not subsidized at all from the school? Oh my goodness.
Just
Behind the
teacher
website.
time, and when they're away after the school be paying for substitute teachers and things like that's not included in there.
One money. Awesome, with Trustee Wires.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention on that, say if the high schools, if they're doing, say, a tournament, for, say, volleyball team, whatever they do, have their coaches to keep, the details on it, so they know how much to charge each student based on like the rental of the bus and the hotels and the registration fees, and they would adjust by like $5, then they'll send it and say we need to adjust the fees by $5, right? So it's not the different, the number overall for the whole year. A lot of these fees are very specific, and they only charge what it's costing them for, say, for trips and stuff like that. So I appreciate them putting that much time into it.
They also do fundraising, right? I mean, I buy a Raiders 50/50 ticket online. I never win, but I buy it.
Perfect, with regards to the motion, oh, sorry, trustee Waters, go ahead.
Colin, can you tell me, we got 4.2 reserves and then minus the 700,000, right? Or is that 4.2 after the 700,000 stated? So
That
use the
would
both.
be for August 2026 would be 4.2 minus 700,000.
So 3.5. So if we go on this path, just say of $700,000, our reserves will be gone in 5 years.
If everything else
Yeah.
doesn't go up.
Yeah, well, yeah.
With regards to the motion on the floor, all those in favor? Carried. Moving on to 10.8, three-year education plan, Associate Superintendent Ronnie Brooks.
Thank you very much. And I guess to begin with, two sort of edu plan comments. One being, earlier today, you're giving kudos to community relations, Larissa and Aaron, for all the work they do. And one of the beauties of my job is I get to work with everybody. I kind of like this, support a whole bunch of different areas. And the three-year ed plan, I'm a very linear, kind of boring kind of person. So you might remember what the ed plan used to look like, where it was just like lines of text over and over again. And then when Larissa and Aaron had the opportunity to look at the document that you see in your package is 100% a result of their work. So certainly, I could do much as what I do without our community relations folks. So definitely want to echo the kudos that were given earlier today. And secondly, I can officially say now that you've approved the budget. That was the last section in our three-year education plan that had not been approved before it came to you for approval as a package. You'll remember last month, we spent time going over all the strategies, the outcome strategies and performance measures that are proposed for our upcoming three-year education plan. We discussed that, showed you the differences from the previous year. So the package that you have in front of you contains those strategies and outcomes, contains the budget for next year, contains the capital plan that was approved earlier this calendar year as well, in the one document that will serve as our sort of our guiding beacon for the next 3 years. So with that as context, if there's any questions, I will entertain those and then just for your approval.
Thank you very much. I'll open up the floor to trustees, questions, comments? Motion?
I move that we approve the 2025, it's our ed plan. It's a three-year ed plan, sorry, I'm just looking. It's 3 years, but is it 2020?
You're still saying 25 to 20, 25, 26 to 27, 28.
25 to 26 to 27 to 28, education plan as presented.
Thank you very much, Trustee Peacock. I have no one on my speakers list. I just want to say thank you so very much for everything that goes into preparing the three-year ed plan. I really appreciate, and I know that we have heard from staff that they also appreciate that it is now actually a three-year ed plan, and it's not a one-year plan that we go over every year, or three-year ed plan that we redo every year. So I really appreciate how this changed and how this came to be. So thank you. Thank you for all the work that goes into it. It's very nice. It's very pretty. It's very, it's very well done. So thank you very much. With regards to the motion on the floor, all those in favor? Carried.
See you on the website later today.
Thank you, Ron. Moving on to 10.9, locally developed courses, Deputy Dunmore.
Thank you very much, Chair Buchanan. Before you, you have a request from our high schools to either acquire or reacquire about 48 courses. And as you've come to learn over the past couple of years, we used to make this an annual thing, and then it's drug into every other month thing. And I'm just gonna foreshadow that it's gonna happen again here, because a number of the courses that we hope to have you reauthorize and not been approved by Alberta Education yet. And so we may be seeing them again in June and September like we did this year, but there's the 48 that have been approved by Alberta Education that our schools have reached out for. As a reminder, school authorities have the flexibility to develop or acquire these courses to address particular student and or community needs. And these learning opportunities complement, extend, or expand upon provincial programs of study that are already there. They accommodate student needs and interests. They encourage and support innovative learning and teaching, and address unique community priorities. So the majority of the courses before you have already, we are asking to reacquire. We've already using it, but there are some unique ones that I just want to point out. From our alternative schools, you'll see before you a course called TP making, one called smudging, one called reading, and a study of well-being. And when we ask our schools why they want to do these, they do a really good job providing the rationale for adding these into the courses that can be taught. So for example, if we look at TP making that Stephen Pottage and his staff have put forward, they want to introduce a TP making course that will enhance the hands-on learning in our predominantly module-based curriculum. So instead of just reading on things, they're trying to do more hands-on stuff for kids that are in school. Feel that when they look at this course, it promotes creativity, problem solving, and teamwork, and it serves as a platform to explore Indigenous culture, offering students a deeper understanding of the significance of the TP, and it fosters respect for the diverse perspectives. They're targeting this course specifically with our Indigenous at-risk youth, providing a culturally relevant and engaging environment that encourages motivation and regular attendance. And so I thought that was pretty cool. The beading course, looking at connecting with community elders and knowledge keepers, and a student-led course in this thing. So they put a lot of work behind that. Hunting Hills High School is also asking to acquire a course we haven't had before called Traditional Land-Based Learning for a very similar reason, as well as an environmental science course that helps out with their advanced placement programming. And Lindsay Thurber is asking to acquire a fire rescue resources course, which will complement the Fire Academy that comes into being next year. And a painting course, which is another fine arts course that really helps specialize in students that enjoy painting, and it sort of complements standalone ceramics course, a drawing course, and the other specialty courses in the fine arts area. So our school put a lot of thought and effort into why they want to offer these courses, and they support that. So we're asking that you support the motion to acquire these courses, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me that.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair McCollum.
Thank you very much for presenting these and giving us a brief outline on the new ones. I am very inspired by these and do feel that it's captured the uniqueness of our community, of our students and our schools. So it would be my pleasure to move that the Board of Trustees approve the proposed locally developed courses for the period of September 1st, 2025 until their respective expiry dates.
Thank you very much. Trustee Gould.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, they jumped out of me two of the Indigenous oriented classes, and I really like that just continues to support the need for the truth and reconciliation and the education parts of the call to action, right? So I love to see this, and then I'm thinking you'll be pulling in more students and broadening that community, because the schools that have teepees now, all the kids in the school are learning about it. They're getting a sense of understanding and context, and it's elevating the various First Nations and the cultures. Of course, I love seeing all the arts and stuff involved, so yeah, it's good.
Thank you. Trustee Waters.
So Dan, on the Fire Academy,
Yes.
is the fire rescue services going to be tied to that? Or if a student wanted in grade 10 to take that to help him or her get into that course, would that be available for them?
My understanding is this course will support the kids that are in that course at that time. So in the second half of next year, they will be taking the whole afternoon and they need to be earning credits moving forward to help them complete their high school diploma. So this, the fire rescue resources are the credits that they need that will be applied towards their high school diploma that they wouldn't get if they were taking another option, if you will, in regular courses. So yeah, long story short, no, I think it'll only be available because you also need the teacher to know how to teach it.
I don't have anyone else on my speakers list, so with that, we have a motion on the floor from Vice Chair McCauley. All those in favor? We move on to 10.10. Yes, that is the PSBA report presented by Trustee Matt Gould.
Why that comes fast after 11 hours? Okay. You all got, I apologize once again for the lateness of forwarding the highlights from the April PSBC meeting. So you've got them and you've gone over them. I'm not going to repeat them and go through them, but I wasn't able to make it to the government MLA reception on the 9th. But the report was the next day that there were some very, very fulsome conversations with the MLAs that were there and the trustees that went. So they felt it was a very successful night. The next day with the first professional development regarding Sharonting, which of course I'd not heard of before, and now you've read this, you'll have a sense of what it is. So I was really fascinated because I didn't think, and you know, in my Facebook feed, I see lots of people throwing up pictures of their kids and their grandchildren and stuff, and they're saying, by the way, we have to be looking at waivers, permission for these kids, the damage, potential damage that this comes 15 years down the road, and that the kids often aren't asked, is it okay if I put this picture of you on this website, which is, and the, which is really hard to get rid of, ultimately. So they're saying that the dialogue and the conversation around that's really important, and the understanding that, for example, children might not want to have this on board, but parents, they were saying that parents have a lot of pressure from within their community to show off their kids and what they're doing. And here we are at Acapulco and around the pool, and here we are doing this kind of stuff. So they were taking that then to the school boards and the divisions, which means we have to have a very clear policy around waivers, but also how we erase these tracks. And so the school division that, the Prairie Rose Public Schools, Angela Barron was the director of communications. And she was saying, okay, every summer, because we've got a bunch of schools in our division, and the schools can get quite, let's say, protective of their success stories and their carnivals and their winter games and all that kind of stuff with all these kids and all these photographs. So she's saying they have an arrangement where in the summer, she and someone else is given access to all of the social media accounts from all the schools in the division. They spend essentially the summer erasing because they're giving time dates, right? They'll say, okay, the picture can be up for this school year, and they have their own contract and arrangement. And then they'll say, okay, we're pulling all that down. Because A, it's a lot of work, but B, we go along quite blithely throwing things up and saying, oh, it's really great, and it's only my little circle. But there are people who will take these identities and use them and all that kind of stuff. So that was a real eye-opener. And I don't post any of these sort of pictures. So I was fascinated by that. And a little alarmed, right? But I think, again, our division is small enough. We can get at it and we can begin to develop. I'm assuming you've already got some kind of something in place that we'll look at that. And then they had a great presentation from Grasslands Public Schools about this urban and rural combination. And the thing that stuck out was they're talking about Brooks, which has the big meat packing plant. And there are a number of people who come in as temporary workers. And so there's quite a diverse community in there that wouldn't have been as diverse before. And there has been talk of quite a few Muslim people are now in the community and in the schools. And there's been a talk about having a Muslim charter school. And one of the counselors for Brooks, I think, is Islamic himself. And I'm not quite sure where he's from. But he's a real advocate for keeping everybody in the same division of the school, so not separating, so that things that might feel like there are dissonant and lack of comfort within the various communities. They're working very, very deliberately to make sure that everybody is feeling welcome and staying, because it's quite a diverse community. So I really liked that initiative. And then Julie Hardlicka, who was a former trustee with with Catholic School Board, brought up one of them. What's that?
Red Deer, or,
Okay,
sorry,
shouldn't I say
Calgary Public.
Calgary School Board, yeah. Oh, CBE, yeah. She talked about democracy and how there need to be differences of opinions, and there has to be room for options and a variety of, let's say, voices around the table. But one of the best things she was talking about that really stuck with me was this idea of conflict. And that, so let's say there's a conflict between you and I, for example. The conflict is the idea, it's the spark. We're fighting over whatever it is. So then we can come to it and say, okay, the spark is what then leads to some kind of a fire. And then it's up to us to decide what that fire is going to be. So is the fire going to be a bonfire that's heart-filled and warm and intentional, and once in a while we put the logs on? Or is the fire that comes from the spark of this idea a conflagration? So the whole force is gone. And so many times in the way we're polarized now in the world, it seems like we go immediately and pour gasoline on something, and it becomes this conflagration because there's no intention of saying, look, I disagree, you disagree. Let's keep this fire warming and sustaining and life-giving, as opposed to everything burns. So I love that. I love that image. And then we had a presentation on drugs. Just say no. There you go. Well, that's what we heard. And then we moved to our business day the next day. And the great thing about the environmental scan, you know, the reports were there, and you know, a lot of things are going. This is the election year, so they're doing that, promoting and elevating and protecting public education. But the environmental scan, because I missed the February meeting, I think they did it then as well, is when they break into tables. So you go into tables and then you're talking, discussing. So I love that. It was really lively, and everybody keeps coming back to, or many people come back to, this idea that the great thing about PSBC, for example, and the associations period, is the talk at the tables, the talk while you're lining up for lunch. Again, I love hearing about the fact that some of the districts I was with, Grand Prairie was at our table, and some of the more rural ones, I can't remember the names, we're talking about problems in common around transportation, for example, that we have in a city our size. But I love hearing the issues that rural schools have, because it helps me get a kind of a perspective of the whole gamut, pardon me. So, yeah, that's that. Now, we've got some things we're supposed to consider. Now, the budget will be coming forward, but there were 4 potential options to be considered. Do I get to talk about this here? Okay, good. No, I was about to say no. I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say this.
After you ask permission.
Yeah, no, good. Okay, great. So I'll just, there we go. And we're going to be, some of us, going in June to the SGM. So if there are questions or no questions? Yeah.
No questions. I just will add, as a parent with kids in this school division, every single year I get a notification that I have to sign a waiver for my child to have pictures taken. And then anytime I've attended as a trustee and taken any video or pictures, they tell us what kids are HIPAA. So.
Yeah, well, it's good. It was for me just a good awareness. And I mean, I would assume that we've got it, but they're also talking about, let's say a parent wants to post a picture of their kid in their grad, whatever, on the thing, and they're saying they have a lot of issues with a child saying, I don't want this, a parent saying, I want it, and the schools do their best, obviously, to mediate it if they can, but they fall on the side of the kid, and the kid sort of saying, I'm not comfortable with this. I didn't like my hair, I didn't like how I looked, whatever the story is. So I thought that was really good, those kinds of conversations. And most of us blithely go along not really considering it or thinking about it.
Thank you.
There endeth my report.
Trustee Peacock.
When I read the highlights, I thought each of the sessions sounded so interesting. Like, often you'll see, a couple or two or three, but there might be one you're not that interested in, but boy, they were all sounded really interesting. And was it at PSBC, did I see Graham Thompson reported? And of course, it's always interesting to listen to these local reporters who have insight.
He's kind of, he makes it very clear there are fence posts around what I'm saying is kind of,
Yeah,
got
you're not
all
allowed
the
to say-
sources
you're
kind
not
of
allowed to say
off,
anything from his
it's off the
presentation.
table, so we don't get the, but it was, lively and fascinating, of course, and a broad spectrum of things were discussed, so.
Did he speak mostly on federal or provincial politics, or was it a mix of both?
We're not allowed to speak to
Even that?
anything with regards to his presentation. Everything that he says is like,
Embargo.
it's not, we record, nothing's recorded, nothing's said. It's kind of what you see here, what you hear here stays here.
He wore a blue tie.
Thank you, that's good to know.
Sorry,
Well, it wasn't red, at
he
least.
doesn't, he's very particular with regards to giving those kind of,
Talks, yeah.
and doesn't want his information being leaked
Yeah.
in any way, shape, or form, and what direction. he
I like your
shares.
nosiness.
It's like you just wanted to ask the question, but you worded it a different way.
I know, I was just looking in general. I see his post op, many of his postings.
Red tie would have been concerned.
All right,
No, I'd have voted.
thank you so very much, Trustee Gould, for your report.
Yeah, good, thanks.
We will move on in our agenda to 10.11, Trustee Community Engagement Report. This is something that we started doing a few months ago. So in front of you, you will see the events that trustees have attended, either a trustee or several trustees. Any comments, questions, concerns from trustees? I'll open up the floor. Seeing none, we will accept this as information. We move on to 10.12, Superintendent's Report. Superintendent Erickson.
Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Had a little brief period of spring break in there last month, but you'll notice a few different mentions of dual credit. And the reason behind that is I was working with our career engagement teacher around writing up new grant possibilities for the Alberta Education Startup grants for dual credit and enhancement grants for dual credit. And so we were working through what possibilities and where we thought we would have some student interest. So we landed on introduction to esports for a startup as part of the Bow Valley College esports management program. So it'd be a single enrollment synchronous program. And then for the enhancement, we talked about hairstyling apprenticeship. And if we were successful with that enhancement grant, we'd be able to modernize the equipment that is in our cosmetology labs to be able to support that apprenticeship process through hairstyling. So we'll see what happens. The application closes in a week and a half from now, and then I'm not sure how long it takes for us to hear back from the ministry on whether or not we receive those.
Thank you very much. Trustee Peacock?
Superintendent Erickson, did you mention the Bow Valley partnership? So what's the difference between that and what's currently happening at Thurber with e-gaming?
Yeah, so they don't have a dual credit opportunity, so they're doing esports through a high school and getting credits through the high school, but working with Bow Valley, we're working on a memorandum of understanding with Bow Valley that allows you to assign a credit from Bow Valley in addition to the credits that the student would get from high school.
Wow, that's exciting. And then one other question. Yesterday, you were at a governance meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
just a meeting with a trustee.
Oh, I see.
All right, I have no one else on my speakers list, so we will accept your report as information, Superintendent Erickson. Thank you for that and everything that you do. We move on to 10.13, Board Chair's Report, and I am not going to report my verbal report because I'm going to use it as a celebration. And nobody can take it. I don't have to worry about anyone stealing mine. I'm going to start. Trustee Waters, go ahead.
Again,
Celebrations.
attending as many open houses as I can. And it's great just to see the number of students and parents that come out and excitement, especially when the students get to lead everybody around. They're their hosts, so it's good. If they're not over yet, I got a few more yet, I'm sure.
Thank you. Erin?
I'm going to celebrate Smile Cookie Week. We had a great week, lots of cookie drops, lots of excitement. I want to thank our emergency services, our CMP, Alberta Sheriff, and our science teacher Jason Zakowski from Thurber for helping us on their Smile Cookie Day on Saturday, and we're very excited to announce the total very soon.
That's one of my most exciting times. On.
Celebrate the opportunity to decorate Smile Cookies. An appreciation for what people do to make sure that they pump out a lot of cookies. It was a long hour of cookie after cookie after cookie.
Thank you, Bev.
Well, I got to eat a few Smile cookies, so that was good. I would like to actually celebrate our citywide, and I would like to thank Shelley Odishaw for her service as chair of that committee, and I appreciate her and what she has done. And I attended the last citywide last night at Glendale Science and Technology School, and I reminisced for a few moments. As a parent, I sat on the Glendale School Council when the inception of the idea of citywide occurred under the tutelage of then Vice Principal Pete Langstrath. We sat around and wondered how we could communicate better with other councils across our school division, and mainly around Lice Fund at that point. We had parents who couldn't afford lice shampoo and wanted to share resources and other information, and it sort of evolved over the years into what is now Citywide School Council. So I have appreciated that, watching that evolution and being a part of that, and listening to so many parents being engaged in what their students are doing and what their schools are doing. Those are the movers and shakers of our parent community, and I appreciate each and every one of them who has served on those committees. So thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Mine's gonna be similar to Jim's, except that I wanna just emphasize Annie L. Gates. I went and I had these two boys on this tour, and my favorite thing about going around with these kids is you'll walk into a class that says, that was my desk last year. Okay, really great. We're up in the library. Hey, look, you can push all the furniture together and get this neat, you can get this neat form. I go, that's really good. So this is where I didn't like it. This is where we're lying on the rug, et cetera, et cetera. So it becomes this fantastically personal level, and the connection with the kids was like really great. Then you get to the end and they're dragging you through the art gallery. Oh, that's my sister's. Oh, I did that one. I don't like it anymore. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it was fantastic. So, and then my last big thing is the bronze medal with esports from Lindsay Thurber. So that's fantastic. Yeah, really good.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm gonna pass, thank you.
I'll go last. Good.
I'd like to celebrate our admin retreat that we had on the evening of May 4th and all day on Monday, May 5th. Big thanks to Deputy Dan and his organizing committee. We had a fantastic day of learning around collaborative response models, and every school had the opportunity to meet as newly formed teams after our transfer process to start talking about next year and the future for their school. So it was a fantastic day.
Thank you very much.
And I hope I stole Dan's.
You did.
Totally did. He was so he's celebrating a dinner retreat.
No, I am gonna pre-celebrate here, so you can recycle it next month if you wish. Being a high school guy my whole career, I am pre-celebrating next week's grads, and I get to see some of you up on stage, and it's the reason why we do what we do, to help get kids graduated, and I'm really looking forward to next week and the start of our grad season.
Yeah, you totally just stole the grad. Like that was, you stole someone from next month.
German, you can, you go in first.
No, guys, I'm not. I wasn't gonna use that. I know no one has one. True, Speak up.
The question is your grade have all 4 grades now graduated since you left Thurber? So I will celebrate the Alberta School Council Association. They had what's the first day called? Symposium on Saturday a few weeks ago, and then the next day was their AGM. This year, it was all virtual, and ASCA works very hard to keep moving forward in its purpose of serving parents and school councils. We know it's been very difficult with the funding cuts of a few years ago from the provincial government. But, I've attended a number of these AGMs, and tribute to the parents, because those are really in-depth, detailed discussions at those meetings. They bring forward position statements and stuff to take forward to the provincial government. And the parents are committed, and the ASCA Board of Directors and anyone associated with ASCA, it's a long day for them, and I really respect what they do. So kudos to them.
Thank you. So every year since becoming a trustee, I have received an email to ask if I could be a Heritage Fair judge. And every year it's on the same week as PSBC. So I've never actually been able to be a judge, but Heritage Fair is for grade 7 projects. And as most of you know, my daughter is in grade 7. So they choose 6 English students and 6 French immersion students as the top projects to go to Heritage Fair regionals. My daughter was fortunate to have the opportunity to be one of the French immersion students that was selected to go. So I was able to actually be a judge at Heritage Fair regionals, which was an absolutely incredible opportunity. And what happens at Heritage Fair regionals is they choose one overall winner from the elementary side, which is, it's Heritage Fair's grade 4 to grade 9, and Red Deer Public only does it for grade 7. So elementary side, they choose an overall, and then they choose an overall for middle school, junior high, one individual. So elementary and middle school, those students will then have the opportunity to go to Ottawa, potentially. The reason why this is my celebration is because Central Middle School student Tessa Meikle, I can't pronounce her name, was the overall grade 7 Heritage Fair regionals winner for her Heritage Fair project on insulin. And it was very emotional because the head individual for Heritage Fair, his daughter is diabetic. So it was emotional, and it was an absolutely well done project, and I have asked for her to come be recognized at our board next month. So congratulations to a Central Middle School student for winning Heritage Fair Regionals. And thank you everyone for the celebrations. At this time, I look for a motion to go into private. 3:10. Thank you very much, Trustee Waters. All in favor?
Can I get you to find this?
Yes, we'll have a bio break. We're still recording until that button goes.
And then somebody needs to, like, by